little bit longer. We won't have to deal with the rain. Of course, we're gonna have to move. You know what I mean? We'll have to roll everything into the backup. That's okay. That's okay. We're moving on. Moving on. Good stuff. Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How you doing out there? All is good? I hope so. Bit of a tornado thing going through, so if it's a little bit messy, what are you going to do, you know? We're actually going to be moving here soon. Should be signing off on the new place very shortly, and so there'll be no more of this like, hey, what's that rain in the background? Why is there a lot of thunder? Because we're going to have the Closing Beat set, and then we're going to have a backup set, which is like in a cave, so that way, you know, you guys pay attention. You know, you don't have to hear rain. You can hear the good stuff, right? So we're going to cover a lot here for you here today. And other than that, it was just kind of a quiet day. I mean, I have a few things I'd like to share with you. Side note, Alice Walton, she's up to it again, man. I know I've showed that a few times, how she's sold every single day this month. She's sold another $500+ million and every single day. She has literally sold every single day in the month of June. What are we talking? Nearing $3 billion just in June. It's fascinating. She was 10% of today's trading volume if you were to assume that it happened today. Fascinating, man. Just fascinating, ungodly amounts of money there. Also, our little thing with the money guys, by the way, they had sent us this thing because, you know, we sent them something and then they didn't send anything and then you guys picked on them, so they sent us a cup. I went to go use it today. This is a used cup. So, I'm like, what is that? That's like used. I can't tell what they were drinking, but somebody sent us a used cup, man. So now I got to wash it. Money guys, man. Crazy. Anyways, let's get started here today. We'll talk about the stock market first. Also, our Wine and Wealth class this week, we're going to get into every single dollar of your money, right? I'm getting fascinated by the idea of every little tiny thing you can do with your money, not just like, quit buying Starbucks and all that stuff. We're going to actually talk about insurance and your emergency funds, things that how that'll go together. Going to share some data with you, all kinds of fun stuff to show you those tips. So if you're a client, hopefully you'll join us with that class this weekend or this Thursday. All right, let's start with the markets here. We have the Nasdaq. I'm going to start first with the Nasdaq at new highs. That was your leader today. Also tightening the spread between or widening the spread between the Nasdaq and the Dow. Remember, Nasdaq has taken over third place year to date so far, and that spread is widening here today because the Nasdaq was your leader there. Today it was the leader thanks to the big cap names. I mean, it's only a couple names. Wait till the sector breakdown here in just a second. I'm going to break this down for you. But there are only a couple names moving this market higher. A couple names that have any real weight in the market. Apple's one of them, up 1% here today. Microsoft, another one, hitting new highs, up 1%. Those are two. Basically, those two were the reason that the S&P was just a tick positive here today. Same with the Nasdaq there. I'll point out, though, in the Nasdaq, it is not all for lost. Don't give up on the old Nasdaq here, because what you have are semiconductors. Look at QCOM. QCOM waking up back again. Skyworks, best performer in the as far as in the Nasdaq 100. Xilinx, one of the stronger ones here today, and just waking up with plenty of room to go. AMD, all the big names in the semiconductor space that we've been talking about, if they're Nasdaq related, they were your backups today. So they really helped the Nasdaq for the day. And then I'll point out one. Broadcom, if you like these semiconductors, old Broadcom over here considering a breakout. See it there? Equal highs, everything's looking good. Not a semiconductor, but we'll point out Garmin. Garmin's a breakout there as well. So the Nasdaq's got enough to look at if you find yourself in this sort of slow summertime and you're like, what do I do? I need to take some trades. I want to be a short-term guy and press the buttons a bunch. Well, there you go. Over to the Russell 2000, this is the best performer so far year to date as far as the four major indices are concerned, but it refuses to break above highs. You see it there? We draw the line. It's got a 6-month sideways consolidation there, just refuses to do it. Small cap value today was the weak link, in particular biotech, if you happen to look around there. The Dow, not really doing anything here today. It's about 13% higher year to date. If you're looking at the Dow today, most everything was down. No, not most everything, but there were a lot of names that were down. Nike bucked the trend a little bit, adds another 2.33%. Home Depot, 1.2%. And then you have your Apple and Microsoft, of course. But Goldman Sachs got a little bit of a gain there. A lot of the financials due to the raising dividends, passing the interim stress test, if you will. And so that's what you have going on in the Dow. It's just been quiet. It's summertime quietness, but while it's quiet, maybe you'll come play a game with us. We call it Guess the Dow, and Cody's going to give us our update.
Yeah, a little update today. First off, if you want to play, you can go to dohstr8.com/guess the Dow. You like that, how I snuck that in there? dostraight.com/guess the Dow.
Very nice.
You can play for your chance to win $100. If you're a client, you can have your account credited or get a gift card. Or if you're not a client, you can just take the gift card. For the first time in 222 days, we have the exact same leader 2 days in a row.
What?
How crazy is that? So same exact leaderboard as yesterday. First time that's happened in, like I said, 220 days.
Dang. Okay. Following our stats there. By the way, we did. I bought the domain dohstr8.com just because I'm like, yeah, get your dough straight, man. That's what my license plate says, and I've always used that term. And so what we did is we had pointed Jazz Wealth to it, and then we pointed it the other way, and we messed it up. So if you go to jazzwealth.com right now, it's going to say there's a security exclusion or some sort of security update or something. That should be gone tomorrow. It just has to re-propagate or whatever the term is that the geeks use out there. But no problem. Everything's still fine. I was just trying to be cute and do something different there, and it backfired on me. What are you going to do? Hey, let's talk about the S&P here, and then I want to get into the sector breakdown because there's some cool stuff here I want to point out. So S&P today continues to trade in what's called an extreme overbought situation, 2 standard deviations away from the 50-day moving average for those of you geeks out there. If you look inside of it, you got Facebook, still $1 trillion company. Not higher today, but still $1 trillion. Alphabet. Still $1 trillion company as well. That one was higher. Flat on the day there. Microsoft and Apple were your big leaders. We already talked about that. No need to share it again. What I will point out is, fun stat for you, when a company becomes $1 trillion company, which is only a handful of them, what's the performance look like going forward? Well, if you look, Amazon initially sold off, but is now 60% higher since they become $1 trillion company. Microsoft is up about 30% since becoming $1 trillion company. Alphabet sold off initially about 30%. Then it gained it all back and gained another 20%, so positive performance 1 year later. In fact, Apple was the only stock that was lower 1 year later after becoming $1 trillion company. So what does that mean for Facebook? It's already up pretty good there. But does it mean that maybe Facebook has the odds of being up double digits in the next year? You would say that statistically that is the case, but just a fun way to look at it there. And then lastly, let's point out Bitcoin. So Bitcoin up 5% today. Kathy Wood's looking for an ETF. There's a new ETF guy going into Congress trying to promote more transactions and everything. So Bitcoin's higher. What's that mean? Exactly like I said just a couple weeks ago. The GameStop, the AMC, all that excitement ends or was going on because Bitcoin was falling. As soon as Bitcoin starts going again, everybody's going to shift from the meme stocks. They're going to come back over to Bitcoin. That's exactly what's happening. You can see Bitcoin getting back into the mainstream headlines versus the names like AMC and BlackBerry and things like that. That's all it is. People are just saying, oh, we're done over here. Let's go play with Bitcoin again. It's that same thing going on. All right, let's go to the sector breakdown here today because I would like to show you something a little bit different. You got the S&P in extremely overbought condition and up pretty consistently here, although it's a small range there. But the sectors themselves tell a dramatically different story. Check this out. You have the tech sector, extremely overbought here. It's one of the only overbought sectors in the S&P 500. Communication services, also extremely overbought, and that's basically it. Healthcare comes in third, but not too overbought compared to the other two. If you look through the rest of the sectors, let's just look at industrials. That's not overbought, that's fading. Look what's going on here. It's fading lower. So industrials has only about 36% of stocks above the 50-day moving average. You look at utilities, it's fading. It's going the wrong way. The market's going up and this is going down. 24% of the stocks in the utilities are up over the 50-day moving average. Consumer staples, it's going the wrong way. So that's 3 sectors that are pulling you in the wrong way versus the market. Basic materials, what's going on? Everything is going lower here. Energy is even starting to pull back, for God's sakes. You got 82% of stocks above the 50-day, so it's not an aggressive pullback just yet, but they're pulling back as well. You got real estate. It's pulling back. So how is it that the stock market can continue to move higher with no sign of a pullback at the moment, but all of these sectors are moving lower, besides tech, communication services, and throw a little bone to healthcare there? So there's 11 sectors in the S&P, and you mean to tell me that most everything is pulling back, but yet the market's still going higher? I don't know. Don't fall for that, right? Don't fall for that, because now you know it's just a couple stocks that are pulling everything ever so slightly higher. Those 2 or 3 stocks have one little down day and everything else continues to float down like it is. You have a recipe for a down day, maybe a couple down days. I don't know. Those are allowed these days, you know? So that's what I wanted to cover in the sector breakdown, because that's a little different way of looking at it. When you look at the individual sectors, all of a sudden you find we don't have this broad momentum. We don't have the broad stock market moving us up. No, we don't have that right now. So weakness under the, or behind the curtain, I guess, if you want to say it that way. All right, new highs and lows for the day. Let's roll on with it here. So we got 36 new highs, no new lows today. MMC will be the first. Looks like maybe a new move to new highs here. Not too bad. Strong, tight uptrend for the most part. You got Domino's Pizza. It did hit new highs today. Domino's Pizza just barely hit new highs. Continues to be aggressively moving higher. So I would argue getting towards a little overbought, but nice and strong. Carrier Global, the one that we happen to own here, we're excited to see that getting overbought in the short term, but otherwise has been a nice killer move. By the way, the other company, I put it on the list today, Otis, same thing. This is that spinoff from before. These 2 names came out of UTX, and that's all it is. So Otis hitting new highs and performing well, and Johnson Controls. After a little bit of consolidation here, the uptrend continues. So those are those are a handful of the 36 new highs here today. All right, stocks in the news. Ta-da! And then I'll take your questions. If you have questions, load them up. Let's see what we can do today. Really all financials, the majority of financials. So Morgan Stanley was higher, 3 1/3% on the day today. They are going to double their dividend from 35 cents to 70 cents. That's quarterly, so it adds up after, it'd be, $2.50 or whatever it is. So that's from the stress test, right? So they're doubling the dividend. They're buying back a lot of shares. If you want to look inside of there, they didn't double their dividend, but Wells Fargo also raised their dividend from 10 to 20 cents, buying back $18 billion in shares there. Goldman Sachs went to $2 a share per quarter, by the way, from $1.25. So I think you can see down at the bottom, they were at $1.25, $1.25, and so on. Now they're going to $2 a share. Good for them. So that's them. Looking at United Airlines, that one pulled back here today. They're buying 270 Boeing and Airbus airplanes there. That's the largest single order from any single airline in the last 10 years. That's great, right? They're also refurbishing a bunch of their planes as well. Problem is, they need people, right? They need people. If I go over to Southwest Airlines and you take a look there, that stock was lower today because they're asking their flight attendants and other employees to work this weekend so they don't have to cancel any more flights. They've already canceled 1,000+ flights. So a wee bit of a problem there for them. Remember, American Airlines was actually asking their employees to volunteer to go back to work. Not sure how that worked out. But so you've got a little bit of issue there with more people starting to travel. Ford in the news here. They're going to be winding down operations in Brazil and Argentina, I believe, which was widely known already, so the stock didn't really move on that news, but it was in the news. Purple. These are the guys that put a mattress in a box and send it to you there. They lowered their guidance forward. I guess they had an accident at one of their plants, and so that's helped them have to lower their guidance going forward. The stock lost about 4% on that, and that sucks because it's already down. So that's a bit of a tough one. And if you like IPOs, do you like IPOs? Well, you've got DD. You have LegalZoom. That's the one I wanted to bring up. LegalZoom is going to price $24 to $27 if they haven't priced already. That will be one coming up Thursday. I think it comes up on Thursday there. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. All right, let's see what questions you may have there, and I'm happy to try to help. You added to your total market there. Cool. Gained a little bit since then. You've been waiting for a pullback. You and me both. Just anything. Give me a little pullback there. Yeah. You got Plantair for a long-term hold. Didn't you ask about this one the other day? So not one that I look at often. It's a newer, as of when they priced, it's a newer stock. So not one that I really focus on a whole lot. I have no problems with the stock. I just, from a technical perspective, I have nothing to offer here because it's a little early to be focused on those. Yeah. You like REITs? I think you have to be more of a picker in the REIT space. I think you have to be focused on 5G, cloud, and apartments or residential communities in general, not the fancy ones either. So I wouldn't say that I would use like the XLRE or something like that as a hedge against future increases in inflation as a whole. I wouldn't look at them as a whole. Right? And you could plot that. You could take a look at every other category inside the REITs and just look at the performance, right? We see real quick where all the action's at. I don't have my chart that lets me do multiple charts up, or I'd do it for you. Hey, Giovanni, you bought some calls on Disney, did you? All right, so you got Disney 180 calls for July 30th there. All right, cutting it close. Well, here you can't see. So you got Disney above this breakout here. You're right on top of support. So let's say someone played the stock. Anybody that bought the stock on this breakout saying, all right, that's cool. It can pull back a little. I'm underwater. I get it. As long as we don't start falling apart, I have no problems. We start going back into this pattern becomes something that fails. It doesn't exist anymore. Technical traders will give up on it. So for you to get back to 180 by the end of the month is going to be increasingly difficult. The good news is if you break below that, let's say in the next 2 or 3 days or so, you likely won't have much premium left at that 180. So it's basically just becomes a lottery ticket and you just hang on to it. The beauty of being long calls if you're not correct. Yeah. Do you want to? Do you want to answer? Wait a minute. So Cody, the question there is, and I'm just going to pop over to this one here so we don't have to see the guess the Dow. Why is he asking, are you bullish on Swiffer, Sweeper, Barbasol, and BIC through the end of July?
I believe he's referring to the Stanley Cup Finals and the Lightning sweeping the Canadiens. Just a guess. I could be way off on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to. If that's what he's referring to, then yes, I'm very bullish on that. It's going to be a quick series.
Is that a sneaky way of like saying you're all in Lightning to win it?
Well, when someone takes 4 games in a row in a series, it's called a sweep. So I think that's what he's referring to. We're going to sweep the Montreal Canadiens. I believe that's what he's saying.
Okay, well, that's why we have you here, because I don't know. I'm the numbers guy, right? Did he nail it, Victor? Let him know, man. I know. Yeah, we talked about the Disney cruise. The test cruise was positive with COVID tests. Actually, the tests were, what did they call them? What was the word they used? Inconclusive or something, which you have to count as positive. So I don't make the rules, you know. I saw some of the comments you guys had there. I don't make the rules, man. It's what it was, man. So they're going to delay that thing. It's horrible. Hey, would you ever consider making the Nest Egg software available on a subscriber basis like the Jazz Research? We're not allowed to. If we could, then yeah. I mean, I guess why not? We're not allowed to because we don't pay for that license, and we won't pay for that license. There's no need to, but yeah, that's where we stand. Legal stuff. If I was just some guy and nobody knew, then fine. But if I go on YouTube saying that stuff, they pay a little bit of attention. I like it. Hey, I'll wrap it up there because, well, I think it's going to storm pretty good, and I'd like to get out of here before I get swept up by a tornado. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, to do it all over again. And speaking of Disney, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.